afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 29th edition of the Poetry Africa Festival. My name is Ismail Mohammed, and I'm going to moderate this session. This is a wonderful new partnership between the Center for Creative Arts and SADI. It's one that started a few months ago, I think barely 3 months ago. And we're delighted that the scholars who are part of the SADI project will be able to share their experiences with us. So what the session will do is that we will listen to some poetry, but we'll also listen to experiences of the participants in this project. So it's my pleasure to call on the entire SADI team to join us in front. If you could take your seats over here. Let's give them a round of applause as they come up. Great. To start off, I'm going to ask Ashton Maheri, who is the head of the entire delegation here, just to give us a brief background about what SADI is and why he chose the Center for Creative Arts and Poetry Africa as a partner with them.
Thanks very much, and it's a real pleasure to be here today. So my name is Ashton Maheri. I'm the program lead for student success at SADI. And SADI is an education support organization founded on social justice, human-centeredness, and open learning principles. We have 3 flagship initiatives, and one of our initiatives is the African Storybook Initiative. It's created a platform where people can openly publish their own stories, create their own stories, and publish their own stories. To date, we've got 269 unique languages, and these are sub-Saharan African languages which are published. We've got over 5,000 unique storybooks and over 8,000 stories. And some of these languages have been written for the first time through the African Storybook Initiative. And a lot of these stories are written by people, written by children, co-created with children, as well as being illustrated by South Africans, by Africans. So that is a huge initiative, and as we talk in social justice, the importance of being able to read in your own indigenous language, your own mother tongue, and making those resources freely available. So that's one of our initiatives. And our second initiative, which is the one that is very close to my heart, is the Siyaphumelela Student Success Initiative. That initiative has been going on for 11 years now. We're in our 3rd phase, and we've expanded to 20 out of the 26 higher education institutions in South Africa. And our overall aim is equitable student success. So we are really trying to achieve access to higher education as well as success. We know in 2022 that the higher education enrollment demographics for public universities match that of the demographics of the South Africa. So we've had a huge transformation in terms of access to higher education in South Africa, being more representative of the actual demographics of South Africa. But unfortunately, that hasn't yet translated into success. Success both in terms of graduating from university, being able to find employment, being able to be upwardly mobile within that employment. So we're really trying to see how we can support universities to ensure that their students succeed. And all of our scholars here today, our Siyaphumelela Scholars, have been involved in Siyaphumelela student success interventions at their institutions, and most of them are now in a leadership position. So they were beneficiaries of these interventions, and they're now giving back as leaders, as student leaders within their universities. And they'll be sharing some of their stories around that through their poems. So thanks to our partnership with the Center for Creative Arts, the poem format that we use in is the I Am poem narrative. And this is adopted from the Achieving the Dream, our partner organization in America, who've been running this for almost 20 years now. But the poem format is an interesting poetry format. So it's I Am, where are we from? And it's really allowing people to reflect where they're from and being able to retell it again. So the first half of the poetry format is Where I'm From, and then halfway through the poem, it transitions to But Now I See. And this allows the students, the scholars, to be able to reflect on where they've come from, but not to have that trauma dictate their narrative moving forward. So they're able to transition into the Now I See, to reimagine where they are through their educational journey and where are they moving towards. So we really thank our partnership with the Centre for Creative Arts. They partnered with Dr. Diana Ferris, was our poet in residence. So their poems have been coached by Dr. Diana Ferris. They presented it at our 2025 Siyaphumelela conference, which was in July this year, to an audience of over 450 delegates. And one of these scholars will be going on to present at the annual Achieving the Dream Fest conference next year in March in the USA to over 2,500 delegates. So really, we thank the Centre for Creative Arts for this partnership. This is our first time having a cohort of South African Siyaphumelela scholars, and we look forward to seeing how this can grow and transition and become a bit more inclusive, to include all of our universities in South Africa as part of this moment, and to see the power of the creative arts, the power of poetry in helping the students reclaim their narrative and their educational journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ashton, for that overview. I'm going to start off with Siyaphumelela. I'm going to ask you to maybe take the microphone, and we could have a conversation and then get into some of your poems as well. You can do it from there. That's cool, yeah? Siyaphumelela, just give us a brief introduction, very shortly, just around your academic journey, so that we all know how you got to this year.
Oh, okay. So just to also, thank you, Dr. Ismail, just to preface, I'm actually part of what would be last year's cohorts, right, Ashton? But this is the first time that, like Ashton said, they're actually integrating this year's scholars. So I got an opportunity to also just form part of the conference this year, whereas in other years I wouldn't have otherwise been able to. So thank you for that opportunity. So I'm here now on a chaperoning capacity for these scholars. So I was quite shocked that I would be here, but thank you for the platform. So Sibahle Mabaso, I studied at the UFS, so I did a BA Drama and Theatre Arts, then I went to do an honours in drama and theatre, specializing in theatre making, voice and speech. And then I started my master's in gender studies, and that is in progress, yes.
Super. Before we get to your poem, your I Am poem, as a chaperone, you've been doing quite a lot of reflections of this week's Poetry Africa.
Yes.
Do you want maybe to share about 2 or 3 of the reflections with us?
Yeah, it's been quite interesting seeing how the group is now immersing themselves in the experience and what being in such a creative space has done for them as well, being people that come from very, I want to say hard sciences. We have neuroscience and all of that. So the reflections have been, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to share, it's okay to want to take this back to our universities. It's another way, an alternative way in which students can heal, can express themselves. So those have been some of the reflections that I've gotten from the group throughout this week. There's a platform that poetry gives you that other spaces wouldn't otherwise give you. So that's what I've picked up from this week, yeah.
Super. So we're going to go to your I Am poem. But what I want the audience to do is to listen very carefully, because Ashton spoke about there's a transition in the poem, that it's a reflection on the past, where you come from, and then the journey going forward. And maybe after you've done the poem, we'll test the audience to see whether they can identify which line reflected that turnaround for you.
Okay.
So it's over to you. Let's give
Thank you.
Siyaphumelela a round of applause as she goes through her I Am poem.
Born in Bethlehem, summer of 99, my first cry was in the embrace of my mother's mother. For many rotations around the sun, my grandmother, Sister Elizabeth Molefe, the only black woman in a white neighborhood, my destiny was clear. I too would be black, brazen, bountiful. The daughter of teacher Victoria Molefe and the granddaughter of Sister Molefe, I always knew education was the key, strong enough to break the shackles of poverty. The proud daughter of a hustler, Intwana Yasekasi, my father, the taxi driver, and I would share late-night musings of the History Channel. In the daytime, he would fill our little home with Bob Marley's tunes, the melodies, the altar upon which I was baptized on the principles of Ubuntu. Here, in this little orange house on your right, up the gravel road, was where I first became a watcher. Pardon, I lost my place. Oh goodness, guys, sorry. Thank you. There we go. Okay, let's go. Here in the little orange house on your right, up the gravel road, was where I first became a watcher. Watching our home crumble from within, the rapid decay, a symptom of broken promises and dishonesty. By 12, I was caught in the crossfire, playing mediator, torn between their strife, a childhood cut short as I navigated the complexities of adult conflicts. Center stage in this broken home, I feigned happiness with flying colors, each time getting a standing ovation. I watched. As grief and disappointment poisoned my mother's words, the venom piercing my young skin like shards of glass, I watched. A small light, my brother, Umusa Wenkosi, the alleged reincarnation of my paternal grandfather, shine through the darkness. Soon, home, no longer defined by 4 orange walls, was now wherever we went together, my mother, brother, and I. Navigating the complexities of identity, I concealed my queerness. My mother's plate, too full with the struggle of raising 2 children alone, did not need an extra serving of judgment and impurity. I watched as the possibility of an uncompleted matric year dangled in front of my very eyes, pitted pockets and empty bank accounts threatening to take my education away. A generous deposit, the ultimate saving grace. Ahead still lay mountains to be moved. In no time, I was a watcher turned magician, juggling nasfas between my family's bellies and mine. And yet, even with staring hunger in the face, I conjured hope. The end goal was to be an artist. You will end up on the streets, they said. Be no name to speak of, be no child to be proud of. Motivated by those golden words, qualification obtained, I carried hunger and passion in hand, chasing an orange belt across the historical buildings of the UFS, a place where determination intersects with opportunity. A magician turned vessel of song, God in his breath of life gifting me with a beautiful voice. This voice and I, between textbooks and broken bread, sang against hunger. Hall after hall, stage after stage, I sang against hunger. Slowly, I let go of the watcher in me, becoming a leader, a teaching assistant, facilitator, speaker, lecturer, assistant researcher, writer, director, finding my voice and helping others find theirs, no longer playing small, no longer unseen. With an unrelenting imagination in hand, I push boundaries, writing and directing, varsity life, a broken Sarafina, where does the sun wait before it rises, Kanya and her golden dream, and Mewe, creating job and touring opportunities for current students and alumni, a testament to my craft and commitment to taking my people with me. I'm reminded of my names, Sibahle, Gilebogile, Katleho. Katleho, success. Not only a name, but success realized. You guys are going to make me cry. An echo of all those who have poured into me. In the character-defining years of chasing an orange belt, Siyaphumelela initiatives were the silent carriers of my journey, ensuring that when all was said and done, we all get to stand tall and with vibrantly hued belts across our strong shoulders and emerge as watchers no more, to be who we were always destined to be. To be the Sister Elizabeth Mulifes within our own communities, trailblazers, whose existence shouts defiance at the odds stacked against our futures, claiming our rightful titles as brazen, bountiful, and oh so capable. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sibashle. I think you may have been able to pick up where that transition in the poem was. Is that correct? Anyone wants to guess? The wording? Nobody. No longer the watcher? Sibashle? Correct. Who was the smart guy there? Super. We go to Musa Bizani.
Musa Bazani is a final year LLB student at the University of Northwest. He is a multilingual student leader passionate about justice, transformation, and equity. He has served in key leadership roles within the Student Representative Council and Student Campus Council, driving community engagement and inclusion. A confident public speaker, peer mentor, and legal facilitator, Musa's research focuses on public, constitutional, and administrative law, examining frameworks that strengthen accountability and governance. Balancing academic excellence with purpose-driven leadership, he is committed to advancing legal and institutional reform that creates meaningful, lasting impact.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Musa Bizarni, and I think one of the most questions I get is how I got into poetry. I mean, I'm a law student. I'm interested in law. I do law. But to a very large extent, I got into the Student Success Program because of the initiatives that are hosted by the university and how I've been involved in them and how I've also assisted with running some of the initiatives in the institution itself.
Super. Musa, I just wanted you very quickly just to reflect on that experience that you had working with Diana Ferris.
Oh, okay, Miss Diana, yes. A shout out to her if she's watching. Yes, so it was very much interesting because I think to a large extent for me, what I would think I struggled with when it came to my initial poem was the fact that it was very academic. I have never been exposed to artistic writing. I've always been, it must be in this structure, in this way. But she really assisted us by also putting in the human side of it into, it doesn't have to be specific, there can be chaos. But also, I realized how free poetry allows you to be when writing.
Super. So this is a lawyer you can take with you if ever you end up in court. You can imagine how he'll mesmerize that court with poetry. Musa, let's listen to your I Am poem. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. My pockets, okay. Can you hold this one? Thank you so much. Yes. I am, therefore I rise. In pursuit of answering the old age intricate claim, who am I, a question more than just a name. I struggle with anxiety, doubt, and thought, wondering what I am to say and what I ought not. Should it be simple? Mr. Pandle, my former high school principal's number plate so declares, I am who I am. Truth parked in his stairs. Perhaps he should be standing here, I confess, not I. He's retired now, but so the question's why. Is it academic, philosophical, or both entwined? For something so short, it surely burdens the mind. It's 4 times shorter than my dissertation's theme, yet holds more weight than my academic dream. But as it pleases the court, let me proceed to tell you not who I might be, but who I am indeed. I'm the son of Karoo soil, soul stitched in Beaufort dust, where winds don't whisper, they wail. Born from Western Cape's crust, where struggle holds hands with grace, where silence is loud and dreams still find space. I am mercy in motion, Musa by name, a Xhosa flame, flickering, fierce with no shame, cradled by sacrifice, refined by storms, in rooms where resilience quietly reforms. I'm the dream my mother never dared to wake up and see, yet woke up daily to rise with dignity. She, Umam Khainebe, kind beyond her own, raised not just me, but many others she called her own. She told me, reminiscing on a call, of a boy who found books more thrilling than a ball. While others played, I taught and I read. I chased wisdom instead. At 11, I wedded my mission not just to live, but to become a lawyer forged in fire, not born to succumb. And speaking of fire, let me not forget Mr. Thompson, my high school accounting teacher, whose spirit never went off duty. A man, a myth, a morning routine. Now, perhaps while speaking of a time or of a man who constantly reminded me of the great possibility of becoming who I want to, let's move to a time that I had to overcome. When he left, I stayed, not where I was, but in who I'd become. I learned to want the world and not just wait for some. I'm not fatherless, I'm father forged, a pain made proud. My worth whispered not in wealth, but in how loud I speak. In time, he returned not as a man who left, but one reborn, and I too had to unlearn the resentment I'd worn. Forgiveness became a law my heart had to cite, teaching me that healing is also a human right. I arrived on campus not with certainty, but with spark. A boy fought Beaufort, ready to leave a mark. 3 strong streams united flow. Africa stands proud and tall. Sien ons weer, lei met die hand, laat u sien oor ons land. Here I found more books than halls, more than books than halls. I found brothers and sisters who'd lift me when purpose calls. From library corners to hostel socials, we built a bond stitched in shared right. The student center knew my name before I did. Academic advising shaped the fears I hid. I walked halls where protest once rang, the echoes of 76 still loud. Where Bantu education tried to dim black brilliance, yet we stood proud. From Sharpeville's blood to fees must fall chance, this journey has been paved with a restless stance. Our Constitution affirms the right to higher education, to transform struggle into might. My qualification became more than just a degree. It was a matter of the kind of man I'd be. From first-year nerves to final year might, I studied not for the marks, but to set things right. There were nights I wrestled with ratio and dissent, where sleep was brief but purpose never went. I am, therefore I rise. I stand not as a symbol, but a promise, Siyaphumelela, I will succeed, living the life my lineage labeled impossible, now very much palpable. On campus grounds, I bore more than books. I wore the trust of students in my looks. From tutor, class rep to facilitator, from SSC to SRC, each badge not of honor but of responsibility. Transformation became not policy but pulse, diversity not theory but a daily impulse. I didn't just study, I led, I served. With each role I held, my soul preserved. I didn't climb alone, I turned to lift. As I learned, I taught, passing the gift. I stood before classes as a mentor in stride, helping others navigate their LLB tide. I saw the beauty in cultures colliding and the power in communities uniting. I learned that leadership isn't about being in front. It is being bold, being besides, and bearing the brunt. I stayed because the students needed to find that the world on campus mirrored the world outside. Still scarred by inequality and a wounded pride, in dusty books I found tomorrow's light, and in every footnote I found my right. I stand here not for glory but growth, a product of perseverance, of purpose, of both. My story is not just of survival but strategy redefined, a reimagined vision where no students should be left behind. I am not a tale of tragedy, but a triumph's tune, a moon that will rise in the middle of morning, a mind moved by meaning, a heart made whole. I do not live a life beyond my imagination, but simply one my parents thought was beyond expectation. I do not walk just for myself, but for those near, the young ones who say, "Ndifuna ukufana nawe, I want to be like you." For them I stand, unyielding in the fray. I've learned that legacy isn't a crown or a name. It is a spark that you pass on like flame. For social justice lives where empathy leads, in the courage to act not just in good deeds. I'm not the echo, I am the voice. I'm the product of pain, purpose, and choice. I rise because she did. my mother, my guide. Her sacrifices, the winds on which I glide. I'm not just a man, I'm a movement begun, a generation reborn in the work that I've done. I am, therefore I rise. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Musa. I think what is particularly important about these poems, as you'll notice as we go on, is that while it acknowledges where we come from and the pain that we inherit, it inspires us. It leaves us with messages of hope and of transformation that we can bring about ourselves. I'm going to go to Zoe Bok.
23-year-old Zoe Bok was born in Mpumalanga and has called 5 South African provinces home, a journey that shaped her deep appreciation for the country's rich cultural diversity. Dance has been her lifelong companion, instilling discipline, creativity, and emotional expression. Through movement, she found resilience, confidence, and healing, discovering the power of storytelling through art. Now pursuing her master's in social work at the University of Western Cape, focusing on play therapy, Zoe channels her passion for children into her studies and future career. Grounded in family and kindness, she carries the grace that dance has instilled in her into every part of her life.
Again, Zoe, if you can maybe just give us a brief, in a nutshell, your academic journey and how you got into this program.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm just a little nervous, so just bear with me. I'm doing my first year in Masters in social work. I was one of the lucky candidates selected through the Siyaphumelela program. And I act as a first-year transitioning officer, so that means I work with first-year students. We help them transition from high school into university life.
Super. So these poems are incredibly empowering. How do you see yourself when you're in practice as a social worker implementing it?
The first thing that comes to mind is vulnerability. There's power in vulnerability, in your story. And as a social worker, that's exactly the kind of message I want to send to my clients.
Super. Let's give you a round of applause and let's hear your I Am poem.
Okay, that's fine. My poem is titled, I Think Not. You are hearing my breath, the breath of slave, native, laborer, and immigrant, the breath of Andre Bok and Ursula Reed. Mpumalanga's misty dawns, cradling my first breath. This breath continues from East London's dusty mornings, Uppington's sunburned afternoons, and Johannesburg's restless nights. Cape Town's wind-swept promise, Gravrinet's quiet streets echoing with old stories. Atlanta's tense corners, where sirens wail, gulped my breath with the grip of gangsterism. There were days in Belhar when the loneliness and the fear factory of being female smothered, pounded my heart walking home through streets menaced with shadows and whispered threats. A mosaic of places, each one a piece of home. I choked in the tides of my father's careers and undertow of divorce, the silent guilt of feeling responsible for our house of conflicts, becoming a child between two homes, a pendulum between having and poverty. Sorry. I exhaled in the ache of being the outsider in my father's house, My family, a suitcase packed and unpacked by hope and hardship. My family, a patchwork of my stepmother, step-siblings, half-siblings, and the silent spaces left by separation. When I finally lived with my mother, a mother I barely knew, new beginnings laced with old wounds, a family learning to fit together, healing and hurt in equal measure. The new girl in every classroom. My name a seed in unfamiliar soil, each school a maze of faces and customs, never quite belonging, never quite seen. Each new school a lesson in letting go, each goodbye a silent grief, each ache a friendship left behind. Who was I across so many faces and places? How can I measure myself when standards shifted like sand? Why was the warmth of true belonging only to be glimpsed from a distance? So I wore a mask, and underneath this mask, I carried resilience. My academic prowess would not be lost in translation. So I breathed. Yes, I breathed my breaths. My academic prowess would not be lost in translation. I carried the weights of tuition and rent like stones in my backpack. Nisvas, a lifeline, but never enough to ease the burden. Each rand, a reminder of sacrifice. But then, at UWC, where the walls remember the struggle, where the soil is rich with footsteps of those who fought for freedom with books and bare hands, there I understood. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. There I understood. Sorry. Yeah. Mandela's words resonated deep within my heart, and I began to believe that my story too could change. At UWC, I inhaled the oxygen of philosopher Mhlumi, mu tseha onna sehlare, sehlare kepilo. Power does not lie in medicine, power lies in the heart. Yes, so you hear me breathing, carried by the breath of slave, native, laborer, and immigrant, carried by the breath of the daughter of Andre Bok and Ursula Reed. Ek is nie 'n slagoffer van my omstandighede nie, maar die argitek van my eie toekoms. Oh, I'm so nervous, so sorry. My heart, a compass that points to hope. My voice, a drumbeat that calls others to rise. Mu tsoke mu tsokabato babang. I am because we are. I praise every hand that lifted me, every voice that called my name in the darkness. My story woven into the tapestry of liberation. Hier het ek besef. Ek is deel van iets groter en ek dra die drome van my familie, my gemeenskap, my land. Every step forward was a chorus of encouragement, every stumble a lesson in humility, every victory a testament to the village that raised me. I am because we are, not victims of circumstance, but witness to the power of community, a living metaphor for hope. A testament that the storm may shape the tree, but it is the air, the clean, lovely air, brought by the sun and the rain, the forest, the ancestral breath that helps it reach for the sky. Therefore, let the world know I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. I am because we are rooted in the soil of shared struggle, blossoming in the light of collective triumph. Despite it all, I made it. Victim of circumstance? I think not. I breathe, Moya, my soul. Oh, how I breathe so very freely. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Since I joined the Centre for Creative Arts in 2020 and with Poetry Africa, I discovered that the spoken word community is a very special community, because outside of this community, this means rush. But within the spoken word community, this means we're family. It's a safe space. Continue. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to go to Blessing Gumbu.
Meet Blessing Gumbo, a neuroscience and physiology honours student at the University of Cape Town's Neuroscience Institute and the 2025 Siyaphumelela representative for the university. A proud UCT alumnus, he is driven by education, equity and science communication. Through his YouTube channel BSc Chronicles and co-leading podcast projects, Blessing's been making science accessible to more people. Since 2023, he's also been running a fundraising campaign for the Red Cross Children's Hospital Trust. Recognized with the 2024 DSA Student Leadership Award and featured in UCT's 2025 Inspirational Graduate Series, he now leads the UCT SIT podcast, represents his honors class and contributes to the SciComm team, all while working towards his dream of becoming a neuroscientist and neurosurgeon.
Hi everyone, my name is Blessing Gumbo. I'm currently an honor student in neuroscience and physiology. My journey into Siyaphumelela started at university. I'm part of a Siyaphumelela initiative, which looks at transition from high school into university. So we look at different topics like culture shock, time management, how to survive your first BSc test, and things like that in the science faculty through podcasts. So I'm the lead of that program, so that's how I got into Siyaphumelela.
And this journey, this distinction between science and art has really been wide. You found this bridge. Talk to us about it.
It's really different because I still get a lot of judgment from most academics, like, what are you doing in poetry, a scientist? But what I like about poetry is that it's different in a nice way from science. So with science, things are ordered, there's a structure that you follow to do things, whereas wood tends to restrict you. Whereas with poetry, it allows you to be free and express your feelings, and words are very powerful. So I would say the arts have allowed me to be free and reborn.
Super. So you're taking poetry to neuroscience, to law, to education, to social work, the whole lot. So thanks for that. That's an incredible journey that we can spread poetry. Blessing, this is your opportunity to share your I Am poem with you. So let's give Blessing a round of applause.
The title of my poem is Becoming the Voice of the People. Blessing, you are soft. You are soft. You are too soft. Like a shadow, criticism follows me everywhere. Men don't walk like that. Men don't talk like that. And. Born different, I am the opposite of the traditional image of a Shona or African man. Too soft, too emotional, too feminine, you name it, and I am. Perfection and corrections, default settings that I always have turned on. I am a lamb that was touched by a wolf at the age of 7. Innocence robbed. The trauma, a fallen figure I buried in my heart. They believed the wolf. Ludicrous behavior from the odd Shona boy, they said. A matter badly handled in African cultures. Behind stitched lips, voices are stolen. Disgust and pain, wounds bleeding in silence, bitterness, unforgiveness, spitefulness, these ferocious poisons eat away the soul, while those who've hurt you continue living their lives. Forgiveness, a light I searched for relentlessly until I found peace. Forgiveness is for oneself, not for those who've hurt you. I was a caged dreamer, a closet education enthusiast, taught to dream with caution and limits and never beyond. In my tradition, furthering education is not common. Young Shona boys and girls with sights set on early marriage, as demanded by societal pressures and traditions. Great minds are pummeled into a pulp. All ambition, drive, goals, gone. Redirected towards adult responsibilities and piled on with marriage. Change begins when the truth is spoken aloud, even though the reality is that a woman raises her children despite also being a child, that a man works tirelessly to provide for his home, be the proper head of the home. Silence is a pre-existing condition. Society and tradition takes precedence. But I am a descendant of strong black parents, quiet hands that carry the world. My late father, Joseph Moyo, a nobleman. My mother, Grace Gumbu, a standing lioness. Marriage is very pivotal in our culture. Divorce, unacceptable. Mostly women are marginalized. But she stood when my sisters enjoyed abusive marriages. She stood during the debate of whether I should or not further my education. She stood against the taboo in our culture that women should never speak up against men, against unjust traditions. She stood, and that is the reason I still stand. I am a Shona boy, fascinated by the functioning of the human brain and healthcare systems in South Africa, eager to be of service to and help improve people's lives. I knew I had a calling beyond the confines of my community, so I clung on to my education. Chawakari Maunoko made it to the University of Cape Town, Africa's top university, my dream university, underneath the mountain inhabited by world-class researchers and students, the leaders of tomorrow who like sponges soak up the invaluable knowledge and countless opportunities. Yes, being a student is complex. Cape Town is expensive. UCT, even more. Tuition, residence, food, you name it. Despite being in the Dean's Merit List and getting distinctions, shortfalls linger in the minds of many students. I am young, aspiring to become a neuroscientist and a neurosurgeon. Is it too ambitious for a Shona village boy? No. From a small Shona boy to a student advocate and a leader. Recipient of the 2024 DSA Individual Student Leadership Awards for contribution to community service, social justice, health, and media. Featured in the 2025 UCT Inspirational Graduate Series. YouTuber and a podcaster, research career advocate. I am a proud Shona apostleman. But most importantly, I am the people. A testament of Munumunu Newangwewan, blessed with an abundance of mentors, God's hands at work. One's aspiration should not be limited by their background. I am the definition of Ubuntu. Where I am today is because of all the support that I received from family, friends, and mentors. Proof that together we are able. Together we can go far. I am the voice of the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that blessing. Truly inspirational. We're going to go to Mbali Zondo.
Mbali Zondo, originally from Johannesburg South, is an honours student in Health System Sciences at Wits University. She holds a Bachelor of Health Sciences degree and is deeply committed to health equity and student advocacy. In 2023, she founded and chaired Utingo Lwase Wits, an all-female student society, and also served on the SRC Policy and Transformation Subcommittee. With 2 years of volunteer work at Friends of Doctors Without Borders, Mbali has shown strong dedication to community service. She also trained as a gender equity office advocate and supported students through the Office of Student Success. Recognized as Wits' most outstanding club and society leader in 2022, she now serves as a graduate recruitment intern at the Wits CCDU, helping bridge the gap between students and industry.
Mbali, take us again in a nutshell, your academic journey.
Sure. So I've had a not so smooth academic journey. I first registered for my first year in 2020, where I was studying towards a degree in biomedical sciences. Halfway through that, I changed to health system sciences. I've served in various leadership structures, and I'm currently part of the graduate recruitment program, where I bridge the gap between unemployment, or rather industry and students, and I'm doing my honors in health system sciences.
I think going for medicals is going to be like a really poetic experience. Okay. Give us some of your reflections of this week that you've had and how you see it's going to assist you with your poetry or just immersing yourself.
Sure. This week was very eye-opening for me. I think that is the biggest thing, is that my eyes are open. One of the most recent reflections that I wrote is about how arts is a weapon, how arts can be used to fight against the injustices that we see in our country today, about how people are arts and arts is people and everyone is an artist.
Super. Let's give her a round of applause and let's hear your I Am poem.
Ngiyakhuleka nina besilo. Ngiyakhuleka nina besizwe sikaphunga nomageba. Omi phambi kwenu umbali igama wakwaZonke isibongo umthiyana sokotshana umnguni kamanekwane umnqamlankubo kuvelilanga. Yena wathatha umfula ujikisa wabhekisa phezulu, ngiyintombi mina uflathela bembuke bese beyamshalazela unsizwa ziyamfisa kodwa lutho ukumthola. The poem that I'll be presenting today is titled Who Am I? Who am I? What am I? And why am I as I am? A question as old as time, allow me to tell you in rhyme. I am Mbali, a flower deeply rooted in struggle that cannot be disputed. A flower is supposed to be delicate. However, I was rooted in strife that you can never invalidate. Planted in the hands of a disabled man, it was just me, him, a disability grant, and God's plan. Who am I? What am I? And why am I as I am? I'm the child of a storyteller. My father spoke of walking for hours just so he could learn, of moving to Soweto so that his future could turn. He told of Bantu schools with broken chairs and policemen who dragged him out mid-lesson unprepared. At night he heard as gunshots lit the air. Bang, bang, bang! 3 bullets found his spine, and with them, the dream of a first-generation graduate died. Who am I? What am I? And why am I as I am? I grew up eGoli, Gauteng Maboneng. Kwandonga ziyaduma kwanyama iphela kuphela amazinyo endoda, the land where the meat never runs out. However, I quickly realized that there are no riches. Inyama iyaphela. I was brought into a house where people came to look for a better life. Every year someone new came. My home was their transit frame. Shed walls were the story of my life. Sacrificing for others was all that I knew. Who am I? What am I? And why am I
as I am. I was told that I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not smart enough, I will not make it, just like my parents who moved to Joburg and never did. I carried those people's hate in ways that they never thought I did. That made me want to fight myself. Who am I? What am I? And why am I as I am? Without any riches, silver or gold, I made it into varsity, defying what I was told. I struggled through lectures, intimidated by Witz's cold and grey structures. I changed courses in pursuit of happiness, and that took away my sense of emptiness. With no food, no funds, just a dream. All I wanted was to see my dad beam. Who am I? What am I? And why am I as I am? Facing failure, the death of loved ones, and poverty, I thought that I will never reach my destiny. Maybe those people were right. Maybe I should stop the fight. Going through therapy began my journey to recovery. Sitting in front of the readmission committee, I had to retell the story of my misery. Who am I? What am I? And why am I as I am? I was given a second chance to rewrite my future and to advance. With the life I grew up witnessing, always giving, never receiving, but helping, I realized is a fact of life. I decided to assist those who were like me, those who were silenced, those who needed me. Who am I? What am I? And why am I as I am? Through trials and dreams not recognized, but then dreams realized, I built a space for women to be seen, not for their failures, but for their strength, a place to explore their depth. Even in the faces of storms and winds, I found strength deep inside my limbs. My strength was recognized. Through a leadership award, I was honored and prized. Thank you to the social worker who said, Mbali, if you're hungry, come by. To the VIT Citizen and Community Outreach for the meals and a safe bed at night, to the discretionary fund that cleared my debt so that I could graduate, to the academic advisor who saw me and not just my marks, the therapist who listened without rushing to fix me. Thank you to everyone involved in building the systems that held me up. I hope that they keep growing, helping others like me. Thank you to those who treat students like myself as people first. I stand before you today because I am a flower once delicate, today, if it's graduate. I am a girl who came through struggles, today resilient. I'm beautiful enough, I'm strong enough, I'm smart enough, I'm not just enough, I'm more than enough. Ngiyimbali eqhakaza ubusika nehlobo, ngizophumelela, sizophumelela, siyaphumelela. I will succeed, we will succeed, we are succeeding. Who am I? What am I? And why am I as I am? I am success. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing, Bulela. A lot of it very personal as well. But you do it with such an enormous generosity and openness, and we hope you all find healing from your story as well. So thank you. We go to the final scholar, and this is Bulela Limba. Bulela Limba.
Pulela Limba is a master's student in food science and technology at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. Holding both a diploma and honors in food science, she is a proud member of the Golden Key International Honor Society, recognized for academic excellence and leadership. As diversity and inclusivity champion at CPUT's Disability Unit, she earned the Most Influential Student Leader Award and continues to make an impact through the CPUT Community Engagement Academy. Her leadership extends across roles as SCO Chairperson, G17 UAC Vice Chairperson, and Make a Mark Africa Provincial Chairperson. She was honored with the Vice Chancellor's Award for Exceptional Student Leader for outstanding contribution to the CPUT community.
Thank you so much, Doc. Good day, everyone. My name is Bulela Limba, and I am currently pursuing my master's in food science and technology. My study focuses on extracting protein from edible insects at Cape Peninsula University of Technology.
Super. Do you want to just reflect on your experiences with Diana? Because we had two kinds of sessions. We had the group session with Diana, but we also had the individual sessions with Diana. You want to just talk about some of that?
It was such an interesting journey to begin with because I have always been a science girly from high school doing maths and physics and then at varsity being in the STEM course. So when we were told that we had to write poems, I was like, hey, I've never written anything of that sort. The only things that I know, exams and assignments. So I had such a wonderful motherly encounter with Mamudena. She was very patient with us. I remember the first draft that I have written, I didn't even know that there are things that are called stanzas. And then she had to take me through that, such as things like metaphors, personifications, and all of those things.
Super. You want to take us through your poem, Lila? Super.
I am Bulela Limba, born where hope was a whisper, where broken streets raised dreamers, not quitters. I come from Danzani, a township forged in the fires of apartheid, where streets echo defiance and families held on when all was taken. Born into poverty, into lack, but raised by a wealth of spirit. Tin roofs whisper the past, but laughter promises the future. Dreams aren't just imagined, they are fought for. Community is the air we breathe. Yes, hunger visits. Rooms are overcrowded, but we bend, we rise, we rebuild. As my elders would say, inkunzi isematoleni. The bull is among the calves, even the small carry greatness. I am the daughter of a woman with tired hands and unshakable faith, a single mother who turned struggle into strength and silence into song. She taught me that dignity isn't what you wear, it's what you carry when the world gives you nothing. I am the quiet girl who learned to speak in storms, the shy one who became her own advocate. I have stared down shame, walked through rooms I never felt worthy of, and still showed up. Scarred, sacred, and brave. I am the first in my family to rise this high, not by inheritance, but by intention. I had no bursary, no safety net, only a dream stitched into the soles of my shoes. I went door to door with a CV in hand, waitressing by day and selling sweets on campus, not for profit, but to keep my future alive. I am a student of life, wearing failure like a lesson in pain like armor. Each hardship, a chapter. Each challenge, a teacher. I am built from sacrifice, held together by resilience. I have crossed the graduation stage not once but twice. Each walk a victory for every no I turned into a yes. And now, I walk into lecture halls once more, pursuing my master's degree, not as a requirement, but as a continuation of a calling, proof that my journey is not finished, only unfolding. I am a daughter of destiny, the echo of my ancestors who prayed me into existence. When the world looked down on me, I looked up to God and He whispered, go further, go deeper, go anyway. I am not the loudest voice in the room, but I carry the weight of stories untold. I lead not for applause, but for the ones who still feel invisible. I am leadership, born in struggle, chairperson, champion, change maker, named exceptional student leader by the Vice Chancellor himself, not for being flawless, but for rising again and again. I am not just a student, I am a sister to the unseen, a voice for the unheard, a light in dark spaces. I am the girl who once felt small, now standing tall, not in pride, but in purpose, because I know what it means to be overlooked and what it feels like to become someone else's hope. I wear my story like a crown, not golden, but glorious, crafted from hardship and polished by grace. I am Bulela, not just a name, but a revolution in motion. I don't just survive, I rise. I don't just lead, I become. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bulela. I don't think we've ever had on this stage at Poetry Africa people who are studying neuroscience, who are lawyers, who are going to be social workers. So this is a changing moment for us, and thank you very much to Saidi for this incredible partnership. One of the things that we do at the Center for Creative Arts is that we have a year-round program for emerging arts managers. This is young graduates who join us for a year internship, and what we do is once we come up with an idea or a project, we simply dump it in their lap and say, run this for us. I want to call on Hlanganipo Steele, who's in this auditorium. Steele is one of our emerging arts managers, also a poet, and we simply signed the contract. That's the easy job that I have, is to sign the partnership agreement and then to find somebody in the office and say, run with this. And Steele was the person who managed this entire project from our side. Steele, I want to say thank you to you for honoring this project with the commitment and the dedication that you've put into it. It's wonderful to see somebody who just comes into our office and literally runs with the job and does it so well. Steele himself is a poet, so I'm going to ask him to share a poem with us, one of his own poems. It's not an I am poem, it's going to be one of his personal poems.
I think we need to contact Commissioner Mkhwanazi to report this hijacking that is happening here. Thank you so much, Dr. Ismail, and thank you to the Siyaphumelela team. It's been lovely working with them. I worked with all these scholars. They are amazing. So, unfortunately, I'm going to deliver my AM poem. It's only fair. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the poem. As they wrote their AM poem, as we were attending the conference, I also wrote my AM poem, you know. So I think I'm going to deliver that poem. It's titled My Father. I am a storm trapped in a concrete balloon. This body, a potent dungeon to lock this havoc in. My skin is a voodooed cave where my breaking breath takes refuge. From this capricious world where brutes man cast binding spells on just man, this entity is not just man, it's a bomb with no wires. My kind are destined for explosions. There is no hope to be disarmed when the bomb lives inside you. Can a bomb fall in love? How? Do I keep my beloved in safe proximity? Bombs and heat have never ended romantically, you oblivious child. I find it hard to believe my father in his absence. Explosions with no origins are immutable. No hope to mute this spreading eternal mutiny of trauma and grief, inadequacy and miniature bliss, mimicking masculinity with feminine doctrines. My room is a nest where corpse-like memories are cocooned in forged photographs. How do I digest my family's presence when I'm still yearning for a man who was sucked by a black hole? The city of Johannesburg is a succubus. How do I strip myself of his resemblance? I find mirrors foul. They remind me of my barrenness for a father's presence. I'm a young man growing towards breaking my father's genes. Denims are tough to tear with these hollow hands. With every stretch of age, my identity fracturing. An infernal, ill-fated continuance. Explosion is nigh. My yearning yawning. For how long are you going to eat me from the inside, you foul beast? My father, a cowardice giant who was sunk by female pirates, dare not swim on these accursed waters, child. The family seas are a treacherous place. There are no treasures to be found in these islands. Only decayed bodies of drowned children, drowning from being unsure of who they are, of how capable their lungs are. Washed to shore bare and broken to completion. A young boy was found dead at the beach today. There were remains of wrecked memories found in his swollen chest. There were aged holes in his jeans. That's how the water got in. That young boy is me. Bonginkosi is my father's name. Translated, thank the Lord. So I thank the Lord for this fate too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steele, for that poem. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost at the end, so we are going to have further open mics this afternoon before our slam this evening. I know Blessing has continued to write poetry, so we're going to ask Blessing during the open mic to share some of his poetry with us there as well, and anyone else in the group who's written poems, if you'd like to share that in the open mic. But I want to once again thank you very much to all of you. Let's give them a round of applause. Thanks to Sadie for trusting us with this partnership. Thank you to Diana Ferris, who was our featured poet 2 years ago, for coming on board to work together with the scholars. Diana Ferris is a legendary South African poet, but also internationally renowned. It was her poem on Sarah Baartman that inspired the French government to add her poem as the preface to their legislation on repatriation. So we're grateful to her. To close this session for us, I'm going to call on the Poetry Africa curator, Sipindele Hlongwa, to say a few words. Over to you, Sipindele.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Hey, Ismail has already thanked people in this platform. But just to, I think we also watched the beginning of this entire project. And I must say, as someone who's just administering the contracts and everything logistic around that and handing it over to Untlaga to run with it, it has been a smooth process. And I think those are the partnerships that the Center for Creative Arts actually
want to maintain and also retain within our system, because in a space of 2 months, this is what we got out of it. And in my mind, I'm like, this is a great initiative. We're looking at science-based people, but they're writing good poems. This happened in a short space of time. Just imagine now, if it is extended period, what more material can we get out of it? And I actually enjoy the fact that the scholars were here from Monday, and they've been engaging. Every session, they've been here. They've been part of it. They actually felt being part of the artistic space. And this is the other way of enticing people within the sciences to come and interact with us. Let's collaborate and see what more can we get out of it, because as one of the poets says, that everyone is an artist. And this bears testimony to that. Thank you so much to Ashton for actually contacting the center and starting this partnership. And we are looking forward to more of this partnership, Ashton. Let's see the scholars at the 30th edition of Poetry Africa, as well, with that celebrating the fifth year of the World Poetry Slam. So we'd really want to actually have this. Maybe one of the discussion could be science and the arts. How can we work together in that? Maybe it's something that we can ponder upon. Ashton, hey, how are you doing there? Are you good? Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and also the audience for actually being part of this experience. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sipindere. There is somebody in the audience that we really have to thank. Wesley Maheri, who's the brother of Ashton. Because when Ashton was looking for a poetry organization or poets, he contacted Wesley, and Wesley is the stage manager, production manager of our Jumba Contemporary Dance Festival, and he said, oh boy, there's Poetry Africa, don't you know about it? So thank you, Wesley. If it wasn't for you being the middleman there, we wouldn't have had this inspiring journey with Sadie. Ladies and gentlemen, we take a break now. We're going to have some more open word poetry outside, and then we come back to Pokomsto. So enjoy the rest of the day with us, and do stay for the finals of the slam competition this evening. Thank you very much to all of you.